Hey y'all, this is Molly Rose and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I want to do a really just candid video talking to you guys and telling you my story about how I started playing drums in Nashville because I get asked that question a lot. And I think that through my story and some tips that if you are a musician or if you're a drummer, and you want to move to Nashville, I really hope that this video will inspire you and kind of help you understand where you can get started. Because I know it's really confusing and there's really no videos like this out there, so I hope that this helps. I'll give you guys just a little bit of a quick backstory on myself. So I'm from Northern California. I grew up playing drums. I always have loved country music. That is my number one passion in life. So from a young age, I knew that I wanted to move to Nashville and play drums for the biggest country artist in the world. That's pretty much been my dream my whole life. So I went to Musicians Institute in Los Angeles. I think I moved there in like 2019. I graduated in 2021. And after I graduated, my lease was up, and I was like, well, I guess it's time to move to Nashville. And I didn't know the first thing about moving to Nashville. I had kind of involved myself pretty heavily in the pop scene. And I mean, there's no country music down in Los Angeles, but I really wanted to test my luck and move to Nashville. So I pretty much just did it. That's how I would put it. I graduated college, and 2 months later, I was in Nashville. I didn't know where to start. I started reaching out to literally anybody that I barely knew, like anybody that I could just talk to about the music scene. And I ended up getting in touch with Rich Redman, and he put me in touch with Tom Hurst, who is Tracy Lawrence's drummer. And he's such a kind man, and he spoke to me on the phone for a couple hours and kind of helped me understand the music scene and kind of how I could get into that. And basically his advice is what I'm going to tell you guys because it really is how I got started. So in Nashville, there's a lot of different places to play music. I mean, there's music, it's called Music City. There's music literally 24/7. You have your touring guys, you have your session guys, and then you have your Broadway people, which after talking to a lot of people, that is kind of where you have to start unless you know a tour manager or somebody that's going to give you a gig or you know someone that can kind of help you in that way, which I didn't know anyone. So I kind of realized that Broadway was how you start and how you build up your chops and how you meet people. So if you don't know what that is, it's basically, there's nothing like it in the entire world. There's nothing. I've been playing there for a year now every day, and there's nothing like it in the universe. And I've played a lot of weird gigs, and it is a very interesting gig. It is a long strip. It's a street called Broadway in Nashville of like 60 bars. I don't even know how many bars with multiple levels. And there is music that is played there from 10 a.m. to the morning to 2 p.m. And I'm not going to get super into the details of Broadway because I can make a whole other video talking all about that. But it's a way that a lot of musicians get their start, and it's a way that people like make money and make pretty decent money and live. It's really kind of fascinating. So Tom was telling me about Broadway, and I was asking him a lot of questions about it. And there's a lot of material, a lot of songs that you have to learn to play because it's all basically request driven. And thankfully I love country music, so I already kind of knew a lot of the songs. And he sent me a Broadway playlist, and I'll link that playlist down below if you guys want to check that out and start learning some of those songs. So in my kind of couple weeks of getting all my stuff shipped to Nashville, I started learning all those songs. And he was kind of telling me there's pretty much two approaches that you can take to going downtown. There's a audition at Tootsie's in the back room from 2 to 6 that a lot of people know about, and it's the only place that musicians can just go and try out and get with a band on Broadway. And then your other way is basically you just have to know somebody that plays downtown and is willing to give you a job, because it is kind of, since there's so much material that you play on Broadway, it can be really hard to find a gig or find someone that will even be willing to give you a chance, because it's a lot, because it really is a lot. So I was like, okay, shoot, I'm gonna go to this backroom audition at Tootsie's from 2 to 6 on Saturday. I moved to Nashville on Wednesday. God, I was so scared. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know how I was going to make money. And I went to this backroom audition on Saturday. And thankfully, I started playing with a band that next week, which I was very blessed. And I know that for a lot of people, you kind of go through that process of maybe coming back to the audition a couple times and just meeting people, and it takes people sometimes a little bit longer. Sometimes you automatically get with a band, but thankfully I knew a lot of the material already because I've been playing cover bands for a long time, and I've been working on making a name for myself for a while, so people kind of already knew who I was, so I was very grateful for that. So once I started kind of playing with one band in Nashville, I mean, things kind of snowball from there. You know, they really do. You start meeting more people. You know, you might start out having, 3 gigs a week, but then, your guitar player friend will be like, oh, let's go down to, Kid Rock's and you can go sit in with my buddy Johnny and play drums. And then Johnny really likes you. And then Johnny will give you a call to fill in next week. You see, so once you kind of get one gig, and I've seen this happen with so many other people too, once you kind of get one gig downtown, I promise you, you will start getting calls. And there are special like groups on Facebook and such where people are looking for drummers downtown. And once you kind of get in the door, your name just starts kind of flowing that way. So that's, how I kind of started out playing on Broadway. And then from there, you start meeting other musicians and doing other things like whiskey jams and playing at the basement and doing kind of, one-off things on the weekend. It all just kind of snowballs from there. For me, that's how it happened for me, is I was, playing on Broadway and then, just kind of grinding, posting myself in these Facebook groups. If people would post that they're looking for a drummer for, a one-off thing in Wisconsin, I'd be like, sure, I want to go to Wisconsin, and I would do things like that. And it just works out. Like I'm telling you, if you're a musician and you want to work here, you can find work. There is work. Some people can be really, gatekeepy about this kind of stuff, but girl, I don't care. I've had people help me, and I want to be there to help people in their Nashville journey. And, the Broadway thing is not for everyone, and I've been doing it for a year now, and I am definitely ready to transition out of that. And hopefully, I mean, my goal moving here was, my ultimate goal my whole life has been, I want to, play for, big country artists. And that's not just going to be handed to you, right? So hopefully through, my hard work, playing every day, meeting people, I think that in the next year or so, I hope and pray and that will be kind of the next step. So that's what I hope for me. But I know that for a lot of people, it doesn't just come like that, so you got to take those steps and you got to grind on Broadway. 250. I've played, I think, almost 300 gigs this year. Sometimes that's what you got to do to get to that next step. So it is possible. That's just my story of how I did it. Something I wanted to add in here too is that Nashville is a very networking relationship town. So really, if you go anywhere, you meet musicians. Most of the people here are musicians, or they're people working in the music industry, and everybody is really nice here and they are willing to help. And I've only been here for a year, and I've dealt with some people that are like greedy and have told me things and promised me things, and it hasn't happened. But that's anywhere. That's going to happen anywhere. But I think that people really are willing to help. And if you find the right group of musicians, you guys kind of help each other. Like people that I like, guitar players I like playing with, bass players I like playing with, those are the first people that I'm going to suggest for a gig, and those are the first people that I'm going to want to play with, and vice versa. It's all about just kind of making relationships, meeting people, being nice to people, being on time, knowing your parts. And if you do that, I think that you can really succeed and kind of stand out above the others. If you guys have questions about, what it's like playing on Broadway, or what it's like, playing in Nashville, because that's my job pretty much. I've been able to make, a decent living out of it. I've been able to survive off of it and doing, other stuff. So if you guys have questions about that, please let me know down below, and I'm always here to help people. So, oh, and I put on my Let's Go Girl shirt just for this video today. So I thought that was fun. I love y'all. My Instagram is at Molly Rose Drums, TikTok at Country Drummer Girl, and I'll see you guys in the next video.